Let's say your client or yourself wants to go from coffin nails to square. Did you know you don't have to take them all off and start again? Nope, I can show you there's a bit of a shortcut. Let's do some nails. Okay, so we're starting with this beautiful coffin. This is all acrylic. There's no top coat, no gel coat. I just want to get into the basics of the nail, of the shaping. Okay, so I'm going to buff this up. We don't want that shiny surface to adding product. What we have to do for this is to add product. And I'll show you what we have to add. No matter what length you want, you must add the product. But you don't have to take it off. That's the beautiful thing. Okay, now let me show you what I mean. If I'm going to shorten this, you can think, well, maybe I'll just shorten my coffin. If it's a true coffin and you've done your job as making it quite coffin-y and you want those sides to taper in, remember every shape starts at the free edge. So a coffin will begin immediately tapering in, and that's why we have to widen it with new product. Even if I shorten this guy, it doesn't matter how short I go. It's just going to be less coffin-y, but it's never, ever, ever going to turn into a square. Does that make sense? The reason being because a square goes straight out on the side. And as soon as you do a coffin, as soon as it hits that free edge, it starts to slightly taper. So you can never, ever use a coffin as a square by just shortening it. Okay, so you may add just a very little. It just depends on how coffin-y you made your coffin as to how much you have to add to make it square. If you didn't go very coffin-y and just a slight taper, you just have to add little, almost the shape of pizza slices on the sides of your nails. Are they going to be big pizza slices or small ones, okay? So that's what you have to do. And if you did the coffin the way you want, which is perfectly symmetrical, the size of the pizza slice will be the same. So the first thing we want to do is put a form on. Now I don't have to prep and dehydrate all this because product sticks to product. So I don't have to do any of those prep or primes or anything like that. But sometimes forming an already pre-formed nail can be a little awkward, especially when you're trying to put a different shape on it. So you might have to fight with it a little bit to get the form to fit right up inside there to figure out how it sits in there before you put the product on. So in this case, it actually fit quite nicely. So now we are going to add our square. So this is what I mean about you don't have to take the whole nail off just to put forms on everybody and put the new nail in. Now you're still putting on a form, yes, but there's no point in taking off product that you don't need to, unless you want to and you're changing color, of course. But if there's no color change or anything like that, there's no need to take it all off. It's a waste of product. It's adding more time that you don't need. You just be able to add to the sides. Now I'm picking a different color of acrylic to add to it so you can see exactly where it is. And again, that's why this nail is black, because if it was pink or nude, it's really hard to see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to add a coral color. This is acrylic onto acrylic. And it doesn't really matter what you're adding. You could be adding hard gel, acrylic, hybrid gel, whatever you're doing, right? Okay, so I am going to roll on, and this is what I mean about adding that little pizza slice. Now I need it to attach to the black, of course, but I'm gonna go in, taking it right from the free edge. See how I'm backing it up to the free edge? I want it to be taken right from there, and I'm going to gently slide this little pizza slice right in there. You don't worry about the free edge, we can fix that later. We just want to get the bulk of it in here. Get it in there, and then we can file it all in to be nice and smooth. So see how I'm doing that? I'm just placing that little pizza slice right in there. Now, you see I have that piece right in there, right? But I'm going to add a little bit on this top part too. It's like a stitch. You can attach something to something, but if it's just hanging on that edge, which is what this doing on this nail, I'm just sticking the pizza slice up against like a hinge on a door, but I do want it to overlap a little bit onto this black part because I want the two to really merge together. So I'm creating an extra bond, an extra adhesion with this extra piece. So I wanted you to see the pizza slice first, and then I want you to see this extra piece that I'm putting in to make it really bond together. Now we may file a lot of that away, and it can stay pretty good. It depends on the bigger the chunk, right? But I really want it to adhere. Okay, so that's good to go. Now I'm gonna flip it over to the other side. And I'm gonna put this bead right in here, and I'll do it all in one. Again, going right into that corner of where that free edge begins and where I started my coffin shape originally. I'm going to literally flatten this, get rid of some moisture in my brush. Little side note, always work with a dry brush when you're sculpting. Product is much happier. And what that means is when you go in and you're doing your sculpting, release on that towel because your brush is picking up moisture every time you pat a bead. Every time you sculpt, it's picking up that moisture. Now, if you're doing it where it's nice and pinched under there, make sure you got your form the way you want, and then it will just follow through. Because you're literally just adding a piece, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that it's all nice and square in there. And it's flapped right over and really gripping on. You don't have to straighten out the free edge. I'm just getting picky. Okay, now I'm just gonna look down the barrel. Make sure it's got at least the thickness that I want. Yep, looks pretty good. Okay, so it looks ridiculous, but we're gonna file that up now. We're gonna wait till it hardens, and we're gonna file it up, and then we're gonna paint it. I'm gonna show you how we made it perfectly square. Now, just before I file this up, just ignore the pattern you've got on here. You just think about sculpting it and making it a beautiful shape is what you want it to do. Just ignore the way the product is falling in there. So I just go back and forth to make it nice and even on the surface, and then I'm going to file up my sides. Just keeping it nice and square on all sides. Both of these sides and then the end. Just like you were doing a totally square nail. Don't pay much mind to what the colors are at all. Take a look at it lengthwise down the barrel. Whenever you add product on the side like that, you're gonna get some droopage. That's a word, isn't it? I'm sure it is. So that droopage, you want to be able to pick that up. So you just want to run your file as smoothly along as you can, lining up with this area. Line your file up with this area, and that'll determine where this needs to be cut off. Go right underneath there as well. That's 2 different angles. So 3, down the side, under the side, and right under there. Okay? Just make sure it all lines up with this on the side, every single one of those moves. And do the same with the other side. See this droopage? That's a word now, isn't it? I'm gonna use that. It's a very good word. It very much explains what we're talking about. This droopage right here, we do not want that going so far down. Where do you want it? Line it up with this side. And you wanna go, see that? That'll determine, as long as you keep it there, don't turn it in because you're gonna do a little notch in there. Keep your end, this end right here of the file, lined up with going outward. If you turn that end of the file inward, you're gonna do a notch in there. So you wanna make sure that's lined up outward. And that'll pick up that droopage. See that? Did a beautiful job. Nice. And then make sure you're going down the side. Now I did a video recently where I did, I think it was almond to coffin. And in that, I talk about the muffin top. It's very important in almost all your shapes. If you look at it this way, you can see this nail when you look down, this side's pretty good. Even the end is a beacon to me, it's pretty good. But this side is too thick. So down here, maybe the square is fine, but the top side of it is looking really thick. So I am going to file it so it's a bit thinner. Now I'm going to go down the free edge and make sure it is really square. So what you are working with is the silhouette, and you can always find a light source, put your finger up to it, whichever finger it is, and you can see the silhouette of it. And when you do that, you can really see where you need to take in some bulk on the sides or make it flatter on the top. This is looking pretty good, but I am feeling a little bit, needs to be a little straighter across there. And if I look at that again, it's not bad, but I still am feeling a little bulk in here when I look at that silhouette. I'm gonna go down to my medium now because I'm really getting down to like fine tuning. And if I take a course to it, I might just go one stroke too many, and then it's gonna maybe be not as square as I want. So I'm gonna take my medium so I don't go too far. And I'm just taking away that muffin top on the top. So not your sides so much, just that bulky top that's straight and then going, all right? So I'm just leaning my file. The best way to do that, file going straight like this. See that file going straight? Lean the file in. That will take away the muffin top. You can also, you can't see it as well with the camera, but you can lay your file in this way and you're targeting. Let me see if I can get rid of this dust. Now my file is going to make it kind of, you can see the marks. See that? That's what I'm talking about, the top side of a muffin. You take that out, that's gonna change your shaping game. That is the biggest thing that I've learned when it came to shaping. That made my shaping world so much easier. That's the secret of shaping right there. Okay. This is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me just check that silhouette one more time. Okay. Now I'm just gonna buff it all up. I'm going to polish it with a gel polish, a black, so that you can see the silhouette and really see the square. But I'll show you the in-betweener too. Let's take a look at those photos. So you can see the difference between the first photo and the last photo of that square. No one would ever know you got a couple of little pizza slices on the side of that nail to make it square. So no need to take it all off. Just add those little pieces and you got a square. Catch you in the next video.